Welcome everybody to OP Digital Blueprint. Myself and Collins. We have a guest again, Mike Ellis, today. Welcome both of you, and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to chat about the extension today, and Mike's got a few things he wants to say first of all. So I shall pass it straight to Mike.
Okay, Andy, you do this every time, and
I know.
Hopefully, I can start us off with a bang. The affiliates within ONPASSIVE, we all know this today. We woke up to it today, and obviously it is the buzz within ONPASSIVE. We got another 10-day extension, right? And obviously the majority of the people in ONPASSIVE, they're going, well, okay. What does it mean? What does another 10-day extension mean in the life of ONPASSIVE and the journey of ONPASSIVE? And I'm going to get to that very, very quickly, but I want to start someplace else. And if you understand this and you get there, what's happening today is just okay. It's fine with me. And what I want to talk about is losing your sense of time. And when I say that, most people go, well, okay, I'm not quite sure what that even means. How do you lose your sense of time? And I want to give you a couple of good examples, and all this will relate to ONPASSIVE. How do you lose your sense of time? And the first example I want to use is myself. You know, the first time I fell in love with a woman, I lost that sense of time. I really did. All I thought about was her. When I was with her, I didn't want to leave. When I was away from her, I wanted to be with her. And time really was irrelevant. And it was a really, really neat place to be because my mind was focused on where I wanted to be, and she was the center of everything that I thought about. Now you can transfer that to life also, and it doesn't matter what you call it, whether it's your passion, whether it's your job, whatever it is. Losing that sense of time, when you lose that sense of time, you know you're exactly where you want to be. And again, I'll use myself as an example. You know, midway into my career, I was in a place, and it was just a perfect place. When I woke up in the morning, I wanted to be where I was at. When I laid down in the morning, I couldn't wait for the morning to come. Everything that I did in that time frame was just absolutely perfect. I was my own boss. The creativity was there. I did what I wanted to do. I got up, I went to bed when I wanted to do. There was no one there to tell me how to do it, when to do it, what to do. It was just a really, really good place. And when I think back of that, I made about $100 a week. Okay. This was about a 6-month period, but it was absolutely perfect because I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. And when you can find that place where everything it just is right, it's a place where time, it really is irrelevant. You don't think about the time. You don't think about anything but what you're doing and the difference you're making. It really is a great place to be. And as you think about ONPASSIVE, and I'm not there completely yet, but the majority of the time that I'm in ONPASSIVE, time is just gone. I lose that sense of time because of what Mr. Mufaro has brought forward, because of the structure of ONPASSIVE, because of what's happening in ONPASSIVE. And when you get there, it's a really, really good place to be. And the way I describe it, it is being in the battle. It's being in the adventure. It's being in the journey. And none of us were made to be average and ordinary, to just get by day, and the days just become rote. They become the same day after day after day. That's not what we're made for. We're made to be in the battle. We're made to be in the journey. We're made to be in the adventure. And when you start to think about unpassive and you can get to that place, all of a sudden you lose that sense of time. And when that happens, you know you're in a good place. It's exciting, it's fulfilling, you're where you want to be. All the adjectives you can use to describe something good in your life happening, that starts to happen within unpassive when you get there. Now, I know that 99% of the people in unpassive, you're not there. You haven't lost a sense of time. And when Mr. Mufareh came out and said, listen, we've got another 10-day extension, all of a sudden the minutes feel like hours and the hours feel like days and the days feel like weeks and months. I understand that. I'm not there. I'm in a really, really good place, but it's because I've been on the journey for 5 years. I know Mr. Mufareh. I know what he's doing. I know what's happening with unpassive. And when you start to think about unpassive, you start to think about the 10 days. What does it mean? What are we doing? Okay, let's talk about the 10-day extension. Okay. The 10-day extension, I've heard people talk about the 10-day extension and that things are going to happen in 2 or 3 days. That might happen. Unpassive, Ash Mufareh might come out and say, listen, we're going to start paying on the 3rd of May, next month. Everything's going to start. It may take the full days, the full 10 days. It might take another 10-day extension. It might take another 5 months. That would be September to September, a full year to get everything rolling within unpassive. And I know when I said that, people started to freak out. 5 more months? Are you kidding me? I don't believe it's going to take that amount of time. I believe we're very, very close. But you have to understand, and Collins talked about this earlier as we were talking together. Unpassive has to do what they're going to do before they do anything else. They have, and Andy said that they have to be able to pay us, and Ash Mufareh said this, before they release OConnect to the world. Okay. So as we think about unpassive, could be 3 days, could be another 10-day extension, could be 5 months. And again, I don't think it's going to take that long, guys. We're very, very close. And I'll tell you why. And I'll start to give you an understanding and a reason why maybe you should lose that sense of time. And I'll start to elaborate on that a little bit. And you're actually going to love it. But as we think about unpassive, we think about this 10-day extension, and you think, well, unpassive, they're just in no rush. They don't care when they do this. They don't care if it's another 10 days, another 20 days, another month, another 2. They just don't care, do they? Wrong. Unpassive is a multi-billion-dollar business. And I know you know that. Unpassive is a behemoth. Well, in order to stay in business, what do you have to do? And believe me, Mr. Mufareh knows this. All the individuals in the corporate side of unpassive, they know this. You have to cash flow. Okay? How do you cash flow? Well, you've got to get to that point where you're offering products to the world, not just to the affiliates within unpassive, not just the early bird affiliates within unpassive. You have to offer OConnect to the world. And if you don't do that, you might not have a business very long. Believe me, Mr. Mufareh, he knows this. So when you think about this additional 10 days, okay, it's 10 days. It's not a big deal. What's Mr. Mufareh thinking? What's Dr. Susan thinking? What's Dr. Tarek's thinking? What's Muhammad Kamal thinking? What are all these individuals thinking? We got to get product out there, and we got to give it to the world. Okay, that's what they're thinking. Now, when we listen to Mr. Mufareh on the African webinar, he talked about 50 steps, and they got 3 to go. Okay, 3 to go. What are those 3 steps? I personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't think they have the money yet. Okay. Now, I think that's coming very, very quickly. Don't panic when I say that. That's what the 3 steps are about. They have 3 more steps to do before they get the additional $38 million that the processors have been holding for the last 6 months. But it's more than that. It's not 38 million. it's probably closer to 80 million. Because in that pot, it's not only the money that Mr. Mufareh is going to pay out as in commissions and bonuses, it's also the money that ONPASSIVE gets. So I think the processors have been holding all of it. So it's a really, really big chunk of change. And anytime you get the attorneys involved, there's nothing fair about it. There's nothing right about it. There's no justice involved. It's just how good are your attorneys? And I can tell you the attorneys that Mr. Mufareh is using, they're the best of the best. They will get this done. And the individuals that are holding the money, we know from past experience, they got 60 days, they got 6 months. They can hold that money, then they have to give it back. What's going on right now could be a little back and forth, just fine tuning, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. But I think ONPASSIVE is very, very close to getting that whole chunk of change, which is a big chunk of money. And when that happens, then everything is going to start to flow. Okay, that's where all of us want to be. We want to see everything start to flow, and we want to see those wallets in our back office, that we want to see them start to fill up. Now, this is where it gets really, really exciting. When we start talking about the money, because the 60, 70, 80 million dollars that are coming into ONPASSIVE right now, it's just a pittance of what's going to be coming in. And when you start to understand that, when you start to understand the structure, when you start to understand Mr. Mufareh, when you start to understand what he's put together and how he wants to take care of each and every one of us, all of a sudden you start to think about what's going to be happening very, very quickly for a long period of time. And when you have the realization that all of this, it really is a done deal. And I know when I say that, and I get a kick out of it, I have people coming at me all the time, and they say, Mike, you don't know squat. You're a podunk from rural Colorado, and you don't know anything. I'm telling you, I know. And it's not because I'm a genius. It's not because I have any great insight. It's just because I observe. And if you observe Mr. Mufareh, if you observe what's going on ONPASSIVE, if you observe what they've done around the world, and then you start to look at the market, all of a sudden, it's no longer something that is a wish and a dream. It is a reality. So I have a tendency to get in these people's face and tell them, no, you're wrong. I know what's coming. I know what's happening. And I know what's going to happen to those individuals that are in ONPASSIVE as affiliates. And so as I talk about the numbers, people will come in and go, well, that's all speculation. Well, a little bit of it is speculation. And there are things I can't talk about, because if I did, I'd get in trouble. I'd get in trouble with everybody. I'd get in trouble with the attorneys. I'd get in trouble. There are so many people I get in trouble, but I know what's coming with ONPASSIVE. So let's talk about the numbers very, very quickly. And this should just put you over the top, guys. It really should. When we look at the market of ONPASSIVE, and we talk about 5 products, and I'm not going to go over the products that are initially going to be coming out, but there will be 5 of them. And the ones that I believe are going to be coming out, what is our market? What is our market cap, our annual market cap that we could capture as ONPASSIVians, as corporate side of ONPASSIVE? How much of that market could we capture, and how big is it? Annually, it's over $1 trillion. Okay? $1 trillion annually. Okay? How much of that market could we capture? Let's just stay very, very conservative. Let's say in the first year, we take 25% of that market. Okay? That's $250 billion coming into ONPASSIVE. Don't stop here. It gets better. It gets better. Half of that we know is going to go into the commission structure. And however ONPASSIVE, however Ash Mufareh decides to distribute that, it is going to benefit each and every one of us. We know with OConnect, it's 25% commission for a personal sale. But there's so much more than that that will be divvied out to those individuals in ONPASSIVE that are affiliates. Okay? That is massive. $250 billion a year. I don't know how many companies bring in that kind of revenue annually, but it's not a lot. Okay. That's annual. 5 products, $1 trillion, 250 billion coming into ONPASSIVE, 125 billion coming to us. Okay. Now let's take it to the next level, because that's not how it's going to work. What if that annual number of $1 trillion all of a sudden is a monthly figure? Now let's look at the products of ONPASSIVE. The products of ONPASSIVE, we pay monthly, every 3 months, 6 months, or annually. But let's go a month. So what's happening monthly with ONPASSIVE with 5 products? And here's where we get into a little bit of speculation, because I don't know what the other 4 products are going to be sold for. So I can't put a number on them. But if they're just comparable to OConnect, all of a sudden we're looking at a monthly figure for ONPASSIVE. And that monthly figure, when you do the numbers, when you extrapolate that, is more than taking 25% of $1 trillion over a year. And if you think about the number, and you think about the number of people in the world, which are 8 billion, and we take, say, 50 million of that, that's all. Just, we're going to stay very, very conservative. We take 50 million individuals, and these individuals, they can be individuals, it can be small business, it can be medium-sized business, it can be large businesses, it can be governments. These individuals are going to come in and they're going to spend monthly at least $1,000. Why do I say that? Again, this isn't speculation. This is stuff I know. These individuals are already paying $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month for the products of ONPASSIVE, whether it's OConnect, whether it's Academy, whether it's OStaff. You name the product, you add those 5 together, they're spending way more than $1,000 a month on all of these products. Now understand, this is what's coming at us right now, guys. This is what's coming right now. And when you think about that, $1,000, each individual, 50 million people paying $1,000 over a year, that's over $600 billion coming into ONPASSIVE. No, it gets better than that. That's 5 products, guys. 5 products. How many products is ONPASSIVE going to have? They're going to have over 50 products. And this doesn't include the hard products. When you start adding all of these numbers together and you start understanding what Mr. Mufareh has done, not will do, has done, it doesn't matter if it's 10 days. It doesn't matter if it's another extension, 20 days. For me, and I know nobody likes this, I don't care if it's another 5 months, because I know at the end of that 5 months, all hell's going to break loose. And ONPASSIVE is going to take over the internet. And everything that ONPASSIVE does is going to benefit you and I as affiliates within ONPASSIVE. All of a sudden, you start worrying about time. And you start worrying about what you're going to be doing. You start thinking about how you're going to engage, how you're going to engage in the battle, how you're going to engage in the journey, how you are going to win. And then the bottom line is how you're going to change lives. And I don't care how many lives it is. Maybe you're married, your husband and your wife, you're going to change their life. Maybe you have kids, you're going to change their lives. Maybe you're an influencer in the community, you're going to change maybe 10s, 20, 30, 100 people's lives. If you can change one life with the journey of ONPASSIVE, you've done something that most people never do, guys, ever, ever, ever. And that's why when I start to think about and I start to preach losing your sense of time, get away from it. It just doesn't matter to me. I've already changed lives, and I know that, even though they don't know it yet. I've already changed lives, and I've done more than I've ever done in the duration of my career. Is ONPASSIVE the only thing I think about? No, but it's one of those journeys that it's just so cool to get into it, lose a sense of time, and just enjoy what's happening. There are other things that I think about and time, it's just not relevant. So losing your sense of time, when you can get there, when you can understand what ONPASSIVE can do, when you can understand everything that I've talked about, you're going to understand that you're in a really, really unique place today. And it's really, really hard to find, guys. It's really, really hard to find. And Mr. Mufareh, with his vision, with what he's done over the last 5 years, and what's coming quickly. I didn't say 5 years. I didn't say 5 months that time. It's coming quickly. And it is. That's where we're at. Get rid of that sense of time. Live in the moment. You're a winner. And that's the bottom line. You are a winner. And that's a really, really good place to be. Guys, go ahead and take it from there. Hopefully I threw some stuff out that you can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. As always. Collins, I'm going to let you follow with on from that. I've got plenty to say, but I shall let you have something to say.
Mike have just blown everything. Honestly, I just hope and believe that a lot of people will watch this. Lord, please just share it, because there's a lot of information here. Mike just said a lot of things, and while Mike, you were like talking, a lot of things came in my mind. To get to where, if you've mentioned a lot of numbers, which is massive, really, really massive. And it is true, because if you look at it, numbers don't lie. Mike, you guys are the number people, you know it very well. But to get to where Mike is saying, the foundation must be strong. You must have a very strong foundation to be able to produce that number. And that's exactly what Mr. Ash Mufareh and the team are doing. Nobody wants this more than Mr. Ash Mufareh. If it was up to Mr. Ash Mufareh, maybe it would have put the product out even 1 month, 2 months, September, but because the nature of ONPASSIVE, and when you look at the flow of traffic, you cannot build a house on a very poor foundation. The house will crumble, so everything must be spot on. So we're talking about every time, like Mike said, sometimes we need to kill our anxiety. Sometimes anxiety is just there. A lot of people say, oh, why is it 10 days again? Oh, what? So I just want to look at it. Who is ONPASSIVE building this company for? It is for us and generation to come. So it is not only for our generation, but it is for generation to come. And if you want to build something that will have this longevity, the foundation must be right. Look at other companies. We're talking about IBM, 75 years, they're still existing. Apple, how many years? They're still there because they build it on a very solid foundation. Steve Jobs didn't listen to anybody. He's just like, this is what we want to achieve. The other person decided to go away. They said, no, we're not changing the plan. We're going all the way. Exactly what Mr. Ash Mufareh is doing. To say we must get it right, because the worst thing you can have in any IT company is to get it wrong. What would it be for you to put a product out that is not sustainable? Or you put it, because normally they're not building it for the affiliate founders. We, the affiliate, we are here to make commission. The 70% of those, like Mike said, company, government, they are not coming to make commission. They're coming for the solution, the products and services. And if you cannot give them what you want, you will not get what you want. You must give them what they want for you to be able to get what you want. And what we will get from them will go where? To the affiliate, those who are in to make commission. And that's why I made the statement, we must kill anxiety. No matter how much we are anxious, but sometimes we need to take a step back, 3 steps back, and ask ourselves a lot of questions, because Mr. Ash Mufareh and the team, they knows what they are doing. We know we are in a better place because we know the person who is the driver is a good driver. He knows it. He will not come all this way from 2019, maybe before the idea of ONPASSIVE came. Maybe it was way beyond 2018, to spend all these years just to come last minute and say, you know what, I'm done. I can't continue again. Who will be the biggest loser? It's Mr. Ash Mufareh, because he is the one who put a lot into it. Not only the the money part of it, but the time as well. That time he would have spent it with his family, but he said, no, I want to spend time. I don't think Mohammed Kamal, Mohammed Nazar, and all of those people who are working for ONPASSIVE, all those employees will come into it and waste their time. Because Professor Susan, maybe she has better thing to do than to spend time on ONPASSIVE for something that will not be fruitful, something that will even tarnish her own reputation. Nobody wants to do that. So the truth is, yes, there is time, but every time somebody will say, oh, there is a delay, 10 days. 10 days is not a delay. Sometimes certain things must happen for good things to happen. And every time we have that opportunity, that 10 days, Ms. Ash Mufara come out and tell us what they have achieved. Something different, massive than what we ever imagined. So sometimes we just look and say, okay, you know what? Yes, 10 days will not kill. There are people like Mike Ellis have been 5 years. And 5 years, like the scripture said, what? 1,000,000 years is like a day. 1,000 years like a day in God's eye. And a day is like 1,000 years. Now time flies. We came into this year, 2024, right? How many months now? Tomorrow is May. Imagine. So a month now is like a day. We don't even have time. Time just flies. But every time when time is just going, we should pray that whatever the tech team and Ms. Ashfra is doing, they should achieve that aim. Because, the time is not just there. Every day is just like flying. But we just thank God that they are working really, really hard or smart to get things done. We want to leave legacy. And for you to be able to leave legacy, the company must do everything right so that we can leave legacy for generation to come. We cannot use the word, we want to leave legacy, and we are not patient. So this is what I wanted to say. Andy, take it over from me.
Thanks, Collins. Yeah, look, Mike's been in for 5 years. I've been in for as near as damn it 5 years as well. What were we doing before we became part of ONPASSIVE? We had a job, and many of us still got jobs. We still do those jobs, and this is our, if you like, it's our retirement, because when this does come in, it will create wealth for us over time. And I've been through this before. Retirement pension plans in the UK, the income is appalling. The likelihood of achieving a far greater income on a monthly basis with what we have with ONPASSIVE than the average of the old age pension is a no-brainer. I'm sorry. And I know we're all chomping at the bit because we want the money. We want the money. It's not about that, guys, because as soon as it does go, you're just going to go, well, where did time go? All of a sudden, it's just going to go like a mushroom. And I think we have to kind of take a little bit more of a back seat here and think about it from a slightly different perspective. As I said, we all have jobs. We've all been working for these last 5 years. Yes, we see the vision that Mr. Mufara and his team are creating, and we're all excited about that. And we want that to move forward. If it takes another 5 months, so be it. But it won't, I don't think. But I want to look at it from the perspective of what the company, because they're like us, they're chomping at the bit too to get this going. And we may well have had an outside influence that didn't like the fact that we're going to stand on a number of toes here within the global system. But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, if you think about it, we've got 1 million customers. There are between 3 and 4 million odd that are within ONPASSIVE, but there's 1 million paid customers, just over. Okay, and we're bearing in mind we've had OConnect now for over a year, but let's just call it the last 10 months. If we'd have been had to make that payment on a monthly basis through the other platform that we've used in previous sessions, long time ago now, but in previous sessions, to have 10,000 attendees, they charge you $6,500 a month. Ours was $125 a month for 10,000 attendees. Now, even if he cut that down and said, look, we're just going to charge you $100 a month. And there is 1 million of us. That's 100 million a month. Multiply that by 10. That's 1 billion that the company have lost. Now, are they concerned about that? Well, personally, I would be extremely concerned, but I'm not Mr. Mafara. And at the end of the day, he wants to provide value for money. So he's gone, hold on a second. I'm trying to ensure that people don't have to pay again. So we have to make sure that this merchant pays out the money. And as Mike said, it's probably certainly between 50 and 80 odd million that they're holding. Is that correct? No, it's not. But what we have to do is to actually crack on with it and go, do you know what? Yep, we'll wait. We're here. We know what's going on. And quite frankly, I'm happy to wait if it does take a little longer, because I want to make sure that when it does go live, that if I'm going to get some commission coming in, I can actually take it out. Because what was the point in being part of this if you're aiming for a commission and you can't withdraw it because the merchant's holding on to it? It's not on passive. Please understand, this is not on passive. On passive is raring to go. Dr. Susan, Dr. Tarek, and obviously Mohammed Kamal are going nuts right now because they want this to launch. They want this to go commercial because they know very, very quickly it's going to go viral because of the product we have and the value for money that we're going to provide. But we can't until the merchant starts to make those payments and be able to pay everybody. And I think, to be fair, they may well have been overawed by the numbers of people making payments or wanting to get payments. And they've gone, oh my God, how many? We can't cope with that. So, there are lots of factors that we have to take into consideration. And like Mike said, I'm happy to wait. I'm sure it won't be 5 months, guys, so don't panic. But if you look at or think about and see the background side of things, we've still got a job. We're still doing what we were doing before. Most of us have. I mean, Colin's got fired and have found another job because they found out about ONPASSIVE. But hey-ho, onward and upward. When one door closes, another one opens, exactly as it should be. So let's just calm down, not panic. Another 10-day extension. Yippee. It means we're on the right track, guys. It's as simple as that. Now, the one thing that I loved and I found out, didn't realise, was that Mr. Mafara's had 2 teams working on the product. So the original one that we had was just the bare bones, almost like the skeleton. And that was good, wasn't it, guys? I mean, come on, it was brilliant. And then we've kind of moved across to the next level, which has got a lot more add-ons and features, etc. And it looks crystal clear because you can change the screen, etc. So all of these things, and then, okay, so that's 2. And he's already said then the next one will make this one pale into insignificance. And you go, well, this one's far better than anything else I've seen on the market. Oh my word, what's coming next? So again, guys, just don't panic. We know there's another extension. This, from our point of view, is good news because we know that the lawyers are working on our behalf to make sure that we can get this money coming in and going out. What else have you got to tell us then, Michael? I'm sure there are comments that we've made that.
Oh yeah.
Silly me.
Yeah. And I'll comment both on Andy and Collins. Andy first. He said it, guys. Connect, above market value, superior, lower price point. I mean, when you say that, and then you talk about the numbers that I just talked about, and when I talked about 50 million accounts within ONPASSIVE, that sounds like a really big number. It sounds like, man, we can never get there. 50 million people or 50 million accounts, people, businesses, small, medium, large governments, is less than 1% of the population in the world, guys. Less than 1%. It's like a quarter, 0.25% of the whole worldwide. So this is a very, very easy number, especially for ONPASSIVE to get to. But as you listen to Andy, and we talk about a 5-month period, guys, don't sweat this stuff. We're so much closer to that. We really are. But to me and Andy and Colin, it doesn't matter. Whatever Mr. Mufar needs to do, we're there. We're going to support him. We're going to back him. We're always going to have his back because of what he's done and because of what's coming. Also want to talk about Collins. Collins had a really, really good analogy about a foundation. I love that analogy. I really do. I've been a builder for most of my life. I've built houses for most of my life. Why? Because it's very enjoyable. But the most fulfilling thing when you're building a house is seeing the foundation go in. The engineering's right. They got the foundation right. They're putting it in. The most important part of a foundation, as they're putting it in, if the engineering's right, is the very top of the foundation. If you've got a 2 or 3 inch variance from one end of the foundation to the other end of the foundation, building that house is a bear. It's really, really hard to do because there's so many adjustments you have to do that it's just a very, very difficult thing to do. And that's why when I watch a foundation going in, I always watch the top of the foundation, how they leveled it. Have they used it? Have they used the right equipment to level the top? And then have they marked it properly so that that foundation is dead nuts? Because if you have a dead nuts foundation going up from there, it's a piece of cake. That's what ONPASSIVE is doing right now. They're tinkering with the level of that foundation. And as they tinker with it, they're going to make sure it's absolutely perfect so that everything else that is built on top of that, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 story, 2 stories, or the Burj Khalifa, how many ever stories that is. I forget how many stories are in the Burj Khalifa, but there's a bunch of them. You get that foundation right, everything else just flows. And that's where we are right now. We're in the mix of tinkering with that foundation, making sure it's perfect. And once it's perfect, just get out of the way, because when you get a foundation perfect, everything just go boom, 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 boom. It goes up in a heartbeat. You get the foundation right, you can build a house in 3 months. You get the foundation wrong, it's going to take you 8 months. Really, that's what it takes because of the adjustments you have to make. The last 5 years, the reason I know I'm in a good place, the reason Andy knows he's in a good place, the reason Collins knows he's in a good place is because the last 5 years, as Colin says, 1,000 years feels like a day. The last 5 years have gone by so quickly, it's like it's been a couple of days. And where we're at right now, whether it's this 10-day period where things are going to break loose or the next, whatever it is, doesn't matter, because it's gone so quickly. When this does happen, it's just like, yeah, I knew this day was coming, and it's here. So we're in a good place, guys. I don't even like to use the word patient. It's not patience. Just enjoy the journey, enjoy the battle, enjoy winning. This is what winning feels like. This is what winning is. And when it does launch and it's there, yeah, that's really good too. But winning every day, winning every week, winning every month, that's where the real joy is. It really is, guys. Winning, it's just a fun place to be, and you are there. Andy, I'll turn it back over to you. We can go further. We can go anywhere you want.
Yeah,
but,
thanks, Mike.
Yeah, we're in a good place.
Absolutely. You've made some good points, and we were in from the moment we understood what was going on. Now, for some, it took a little longer than others, and we're going to look back on this journey, this time we've spent, kind of like, if you like, in limbo. As I said, we've all got jobs. We've all still working in the background. Yes, we want to give up those jobs and do other things. I get that, okay? And time flies when you're having fun. But we're all been on this journey, and it's going to fade into insignificance. And all of those that have been on this journey are going to look back and go, do you know, I really enjoyed that bit because we learned so much. We've spent the time, a lot of us have spent the time learning what is going on, how things work, what options we've got, how the website is put together. I mean, just the website alone, it's over 175 pages. There aren't very many websites today that have got 175 pages that are being changed every week. You know, this is something to behold. And all of those non-believers, I just feel sorry for you guys. I really do, because you've got no idea what's coming. And it does make me giggle inside in a very big way. But like we've said, we're happy to wait. Collins, any further comments?
Yeah, you know, Andy, you talk about the website and the amount of time people have put in to learn. You know, when I look at the 10 days, I always take it as an opportunity. They say everything comes with an opportunity. Some others will say, oh, there'll be mourning, and say, oh, they take it as a sad way or disadvantage to themselves. But I always look everything as an opportunity for me to learn. So if you look you look at the family of ONPASSIVE, the last founder came in 2 years ago. Was it 2 years? The last founder came in 2 years ago. Let us ask ourselves, how much have we learned in ONPASSIVE? Maybe very few, knows, what ONPASSIVE is all about, how they will run their business. Very few of the 1.4 and those who've come in really understand. The time is now for us to take and learn this business, understand how to run your business. Because when the floodgate will be open, you will be on your own. You have a business. A lot of founders don't know they have a business, a piece of the cake within ONPASSIVE. So it is up to you how you want to run it. Like Madi Digam always said, Miss Ash before have given us, a Rolls Royce engine, a Rolls Royce car. It's up to you if you want to drive it like a Beetle. So this is the time. 10 days is enough for you to sit back and say, all right, let me spend 15 minutes, take my time, forget about the apples or whatever, because it's just that apple we are really interested in. But how many of us can really run this business to make sure we get our bottom line where we want it to be? Because there are people who, when they open this door, you see a founder put all of you on the same, because it's a plain level field. But there are people who hammer that side within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Where they will be, you'll not even believe it. And we will be crying and said, but this person is a founder like myself. How comes he is there and I am here? How comes he is doing all of this and I cannot even afford to do this? It is because you never take your time to understand ONPASSIVE. You never treat your business the way you want your business to treat you. You need to treat ONPASSIVE in a way, a special way, and ONPASSIVE will treat you the same way. If you run it or you abandon it, then ONPASSIVE will also abandon you. Not like Mr. Ash Mofara abandoned you. Your business will abandon you. They gave you a shop. If you want to shut the door, go to bed and sleep. Don't expect anything. But when you open that door and start to know where the cashier is, where my server, where the products are, just look at it, polish it, dust it. You're not building it, but just look at it and say, oh, good morning, I love you. See what will happen. But if you cannot show that love for the business, you're showing the love only for the apple, I'm just sorry, because it means you'll be growing like midget. So we need to take this time, this opportunity to understand ONPASSIVE in its fullness. What is it in ONPASSIVE that I need to know? Like when Pat Parent asked Ms. Ash Mofara, I've done this that was Rob Lynch show. Say, what do I need to do? I've done ABC. Ms. Ash said it clearly that this is what you need to do to get you. He didn't say go and build a product. He didn't say go and look for customer. He said take a good laptop, sit in your house, do ABC, push that button and leave the rest of Mr. Ash Mofara and the tech team. Sometimes we need to pay attention to Mr. Ash Mofara, because that is where the journey of ONPASSIVE is, where we can, really move faster. But it is a shame that most of the founders, they are not getting it. Just hold it, because when you listen, especially to Mike Ellis, Mari Digamo, and the explanation of Mr. Ash Mofara, some of those who really capture ONPASSIVE in their heart, I'm telling you, you have sleepless night, because you have a gigantic pie in ONPASSIVE, but we're not treating it with love. We're not polishing it, nurture it, water it to make sure it produces good fruit for us. It is just so easy to do that. So I'll leave it.
Excellent. Thanks, Collins. Any further comments you'd like to make, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. Absolutely. I love where Collins is going because it really is the guts of Unpassive. And, you know, people think about Unpassive in a lot of different ways. Equality of opportunity. Yeah, Unpassive equality of opportunity. Absolutely, 100%. Equality of outcome. No, that is not Unpassive. There is not an equality of outcome. And it has to do with competency. And this is what Collins is talking about. You need to look at Unpassive as your business, and you need to become competent in the things you need to do. Now, Unpassive is a done deal. Unpassive, if you're engaged, if you're participating with Unpassive, you are going to do very, 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 very well. For me, I'm saying this, guaranteed, you're going to do very, very well. But if you develop a competency within Unpassive, within your business, all of a sudden those time frames they start to go down like dominoes, and you get to that place where you think you want to be. Because when you get there, you're going to realize, no, I don't want to be here. I want to be here. I want to go much further than this. And Unpassive, a lot of people talk about, Marty talks about it, Collins, Andy talks about the unlimited potential of Unpassive, and it is there. But you have to develop a competency if you want to go a little further and a little further and a little further. And Collins talked about the next 10 days. We've got a 10-day extension. Could happen in this 10-day period. You've got time to develop competency in one area in Unpassive. I don't care what it is. Maybe it's coming on and engaging with a webinar. Maybe it's making a post. Maybe it's doing this or that. You can develop competency in one area. You're never going to develop every area of your life and be competent in every area. But that's a good thing because you always have something to work on. We all of us here have something we can work on. And I work on it every day. I know Andy does. I know Collins does. I listen to other people. I learn. And I get more out of listening than I do talking because that's where I learn. And I listen to people that are smarter than I am. And there's a lot of them, by the way. But competency is a really, really important thing. Unpassive is not equality of outcome, although the outcome for everybody is going to be absolutely fantastic. But the more competent you become, the more you can push that outcome to where you want it to be. And that's always going to be changing. And the last thing I'll say, and then I'll turn it back over to Andy, very little of that has to do with the amount of money you're going to be making. And you're going to see that as you reach different levels, all of a sudden, it's not the money. It's the money's secondary. It's the other things that and this is so cool about Unpassive. It's the other things that Unpassive brings to the table that most people don't even think about yet. But in 6 months, it's all that they're going to be thinking about. Andy, go ahead and take it from there. We've had a good hour.
We have indeed. Yes. I want to give you a little analogy here because I think it's important for people to understand where they are right now. So, as most of you know, I used to work in financial services, and it never worried or bothered me to go and sit in front of a president or a vice president or a CEO or a managing director. Where a lot of the others were concerned about that. I remember sitting in front of a senior partner in one of the major accountants firms, and they sit there like this, and I know more than you do, and you just drop little subtle details and the arms unfold, and then he starts leaning across the table going, perhaps I don't know. But the difference between myself and them is simply I know my business, they are very good at theirs, and they have no clue of mine. And if you actually relate that to ONPASSIVE and take this time to learn as much as you possibly can, you would have the confidence to talk to absolutely anybody, because you know your stuff. And we have products, Mike has mentioned this before, far superior products at a far lower price point. Now, who in their right mind would not even consider looking at something like this? So if you're talking to a CEO, a president, you know, a managing director of any company that uses any form of internet, be it traffic to email marketing to advertise, whatever it is, they need to see what ONPASSIVE has got. And if you know your stuff, because you've spent this time learning a little bit more, understanding a little bit more, going through the website, going through the ecosystem, just a little time. By the time you've done that, you've got 10 times more knowledge than the vice president, the CEO, the managing director. And you can say with confidence, I've got something for you. Now, that to me is the easiest and simplest way of being able to share. And that's all we have to do. We don't, I beg your pardon, we don't even have to do that. I'm going to do that because I'm confident, because I know a lot of things about ONPASSIVE. But believe me, I'm not a techie. I've learned more from this, this man, Collins, than and Marty and Mike and people like this than anybody else. And this is fantastic because this is way out of my comfort zone. I just deal with figures. So guys, make sure that you spend this time learning as much as you possibly can and coming in from a position of power because you have more knowledge than anybody else. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. Listening to your dulcet tones again. It's lovely. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll see you next week. Oops. Wrong one.